Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Friday. What is this? August 27th, and it's time for another, Southern Gardening Facebook Live. Ask me anything. So go ahead and if you're listening and watching, send me some questions. Share with your friends that we've got this going this morning. We've got stuff to talk about. Garden wise. What's happening this weekend. We have there's a tropical storm coming in that we're getting prepared for here on the coast at Coastal R&E. We've got high tunnels that we're trying to figure out if we're going to cut the plastic, or what happens if this storm makes a little bit of more of a right-hand turn earlier than projected. And there's just a lot of things that we need to think about garden-wise, before this before a storm like this happens. It's funny, a lot of times this is really the time of the year where we go out in our gardens and pick up stuff that could become projectiles. So, today, tomorrow, get out, pick things up that you don't want blowing around. It's also a great time to do an inventory of what your yard looks like, and just pictures, or take your smartphone out and walk around the yard and take a video of just what things look like before the storm comes in. It's also a good idea to do the same thing in the house, just in case, God forbid that we have structural damage. This is forecast to be a significant event, so have this kind of stuff documented just in case. I know at the Urban Nano Farm, obviously we're not there this morning. We're here at the my office at Coastal R&E, taking care of some things before the storm. But going to be heading home and putting storm panels up. We'll do a daily dose with that probably in the morning, putting storm panels up again. Cleaning up the yard, taking tips on that. So I just want everybody to be careful, and to just let's hunker down and get by this, and then pick up on the other side. One thing that we'll talk about probably next week is, if you've got some tree damage, if they're big trees, really they're dangerous. Get professionals to do a lot of the work. Everybody's going to be busy, I know, but we just need to be careful when we do have some tree damage out and about after a storm event. I have to apologize this morning. For some reason, I'm fuzzy. I mean, don't know why. It's obviously a camera thing, because the focus has been going in and out as Ellen and I have been playing around with some of the images that we've got here. So let's say we got a few folks here this morning watching. Susan and Deanna and Kim and LaDeborah. I hope that's right. So thanks for joining. Share with your friends, these Ask Me Anythings. We will have a giveaway. We always have a giveaway at these things. And just as a little teaser, it's going to be a set of Ultimate Innovation pruners. These are little ratchet pruners that our friend Roxanne DePalma from QVC, she is a member of Southern Gardening Nation. We welcome her, and she sent me some goodies from Ultimate Innovations, and this is a really cool little set of ratchet pruners. And stay tuned, I'll share how you can get into the drawing for that. So with that, what I wanted to start off today, we're starting to get some folks watching here and tuning in. Earlier this week, we had a question come in about a flower on a hydrangea. And let me go ahead and put that up on the screen. This is what Ellen and I were playing with this morning, trying to figure out how to share screens and flowers and things. So this is going to be fun. But anyways, this was shared. It's been on some of the social media sites, some of the Facebook sites. It was sent into MSU Horticulture Hub. And I'm looking at the comments. Yeah, Deanna, you really do need a set of pruners. These are a fantastic little set of pruners. So, but we had this picture come in, and it's a shot of a homeowner sent in of a mop head hydrangea. And if you're not familiar with some of the hydrangeas, we've got of these big leaf, we've got the mop heads, which look like big pom poms, and they're made up of all these are little individual flowers. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. We get really fancy here this morning, but we can see how each one of those are individual flowers, and you see a little better over on this one. Well, that's called a mop head. That's a big leaf hydrangea. There's also some that are called lace caps. And lace caps have these big flowers all the way around the edge, and then little flowers in the center. And what's interesting about these, the big flowers are infertile. And it's the little flowers that get the bees in. So these big flowers on these lace caps are really kind of attractors to bring the pollinators in. Well, let me go back to this one. This little flower, it just seems it's just out of place with this hydrangea. It had flowered normally earlier in the year, and just had this one flower pop out. Now, it could be a really cool flower mutation. The homeowner's been suggested to them. Let's be patient. Let's see what it does next year if it does it again. It could have been one of the. I'm going to switch back here. It could have been one of these individual flowers, or an individual flower head got damaged. It could be that these individual flowers, there's a little bit of a mutation there. And mutations in flowers are actually pretty. Hang on a second. We've got, with the storm coming, we've got a lot of stuff flying back and forth. Oh. And Kate, if you're watching, yes, that's perfect. One of the things that happens with flowers, we get mutations all the time, and that's where a lot of our new plants come from. We just see these spontaneous mutations, and one of the most common mutations that we see in flowers, like coneflower and rudbeckia and daisies and such, is called a fasciation. And this is an example here of a purple coneflower with a fasciation. We see a normal coneflower here in the upper right, but we see this flower here. See how that cone is all elongated? And that was caused by a mutation in a single cell. A single cell divided differently than it was programmed to do, and it resulted into that. A lot of times we see these mutations like this are just one-time events, and they don't repeat themselves. That's the vast majority of it. But this mutation with this hydrangea, maybe there's something there. This tells me that that it is a mutation. Whether it's we see it next year or not, we'll know next year. So, anyways, keep your eyes out in the garden and look for these different plants that pop up just randomly, just from the mixing of the genetic material during pollination. So with that, get that off my chest here. Let's see here. What other kind of questions do we have? We've got Kim. I've never planted a fall garden. We live in Brandon. What would you recommend for a newbie and when to plant? Okay, Kim, great question. And believe it or not, now is the time to start planting. If you're going to start from seed, if you're going to start kale and collards and mustard greens and some of the other cool season greens, now's the time to start. But I know what you're thinking, because I think the same thing. That is, it's just too darn hot. I mean, we're still heat indexes at way above 100 degrees. And can we really plant these cool season greens now? And the answer is yes. And the reason is, if you want to have greens to start harvesting middle of October into November, we have to get those planted now. If we wait till October, November to plant kale, lettuce, collards, and the like, we're not going to be harvesting until after first of the year. So it's really a timing thing of getting those plants growing and then being able to harvest earlier. And then we can still plant in October, November if you want to do that. Or if you want to wait for the garden centers to have transplants. A lot of garden centers now have leafy greens, cool season green transplants, just like we buy the tomatoes and peppers in the springtime. So that's one thing you can do. You could also do radishes are great, cool season carrots. It's a great time to do that. So hope that gives you some ideas. If you want some more advice, more than I've given you here, just go ahead and email me, southerngardening@msstate.edu, and I'll get you some more information from MSU Extension, some of our publications. Okay, so I hope that helps. So let's see here, Gwendolyn. Look at this. We are interstatal. We're going interstatal. Gwendolyn is in mid-Missouri. And zone 6, I had cedar trees, ornamental. They died one by one, starting at the front, one side of the house. Now I can't get anything to grow where they were. Why? Oh, boy. You're asking me a tough one there. A lot of times we see cedar-type trees that go into decline and die in the landscape. A lot of times, and I saw this a lot when I lived in Illinois, that a lot of times the damage is set up in the wintertime, where the ground freezes and the plants can't take up water during those cold events, and basically they dehydrate in the wintertime, and it damages the root system, and they slowly decline. One of the things that you can do is if you go back with those type of evergreen type of plants, is before it really freezes, is to water everything good. That definitely helps. But I know if the ground freezes and the wind is blowing, the plants dry out and desiccate, and there's really not much you can do about it. If you would want to, again, like I told Kim, if you want to send me an email to southerngardening@msstate.edu, I'll put you in touch with some of the extension professionals at Missouri, and they can really help you really a lot better than I can here. I'm in zone 9A. We just don't see the winter type effects that you see in zone 6. So if you'll do that, I'll help you on that end, and I'll put you in touch with my colleagues up there, which they can give you some better advice, more region appropriate advice. So if that works. Okay, so LaDeborah says it's hot that I'm growing my lettuce indoors. Yeah, that's a great way to grow lettuce. I started growing leaf lettuce, baby leaf lettuce inside on my microgreen racks this past year, and it turned out fantastic to have that fresh lettuce. And you start them indoors, and then when it starts to moderate temperatures, we can go ahead and move that growing outdoors, and and make room for something else on our rack. So that's a great advice for Deborah. And let's see, Meg Mathis, how you doing this morning, Meg? When can I start sugar snap peas for the fall? Again, I'd go ahead and start them now. I've done that a couple different ways in the past. I've started indoors and grown transplants. I mean, the sugar snap peas, they're ready to transplant in like 7 days. So if they didn't stay inside very long. But really, once we get past Labor Day, I'd go ahead and seed those right where you want them to grow, and they'll be fine. The smaller plants will tolerate the heat load right now, and then when it starts cooling down, there's more growth in the plants, they'll flower, and then you can have peas out your ears. So I'd go ahead and start that now. Okay, so Donnie and Terry, they ask, what would you suggest as a good mixture for potting soil for citrus trees? I picked up a few this past week and need to repot. Okay, I can tell you what I do, and I've done a daily dose. I've done several daily dose videos on that. And let me just, a little bit of shameless self-promotion here. One of the things we did starting in 2020, my wife Katie and I, in our yard, they're doing what we call daily dose of hort videos. And we post these on the Southern Gardening Facebook page, Southern Gardening Instagram page. And they're just videos showing tips and tricks on how I garden at home. I like to show everybody that I'm a gardener and I have failures and I have successes just like everybody else. But I like to think out of the box a little bit and come up with ideas to try to make gardening easier. So that's what we do with the daily dose of hort videos. Now, as far as potting mix for citrus trees, now I can tell you how I do it. I grow all of my citrus in 25-gallon containers. I have some in 15s only because I ran out of 25-gallon containers. But I grow in big containers. And I like to use a professional growing mix. I've used Sunshine Mix in the past. Right now, I'm using the Garden Grow mix or the Tiger Grow mix from our friends over at the LSU Ag Center. And those products are made right here, mixed right here in the state of Mississippi at Phillips Park in Brookhaven. Well, I like to use those mixes, but then I mix that mix, because it's really made for smaller containers, with a pine bark chip. And so it's a really coarse pine bark mixed in with the professional potting mix, professional growing mix. And that gives the citrus trees a really good growing mix to grow in, and they grow fine for me. If you want more information, I'll share that video with you. Again, what's the email? southerngardening@msstate.edu. If you'll send me that question, I will get you that information of how I'm growing citrus trees in containers. So we can go from there. Now, Julie is asking, can I prune? Oh, okay. So I see the first question. Now I see can I lightly prune herbs now? Yes. And in fact, as far as herbs go, you really should be cutting herbs all through the summer, because that kind of stops that urge that the plants have for producing flowers, and it keeps them more in a vegetative state and producing more foliage, which is what we want for herbs. So yeah, go ahead, prune now, prune next week, prune after that, but just keep pruning and keep enjoying those herbs. Now Rhonda asks, okay, this is a big long question here. I moved a lot of roses to a new bed this spring. The bed is not close to my house and the deer are having a field day. I've tried natural things, but I wonder what plants I could plant among them to deter the deer. Rhonda, I'm just going to tell you like it is. There's really no plants that you're going to be able to grow that are going to keep the deer out. The deer are in there because they're hungry. The roses are there. And they're going to consume it. There are products out there, like deer scram and the like of repellents that you can use. Most of those have to be reapplied after a rain, because they're just a surface product. But it really acts on smell. Last year here at Coastal R&E, we do a lot of flower trials and planting trials out behind our building, out in our back 30 acres. And we have always had deer browse issues. We put fences up, they jump over the fence. And this last year, I was talking with my friend Ron Wilson, who, by the way, has a fantastic radio show on Saturday mornings in the garden with Ron Wilson, 55 KRC. You can get it on iHeart. He was telling me that at the nursery he works at, they've used a product called Whiff. And Whiff is this, it's basically like cheap hotel soap. And, I know folks have recommended using like Irish Spring, put shavings of Irish Spring around. Well, last year we bought some of this Whiff. And the Whiff comes in little hotel soap bars, package with a hole go through them and a twist tie. And we took those little bars of Whiff soap and hung those on our fence that we had around our flower plots last year. And we had 0 deer browse. That definitely kept the deer out. And we also didn't do a big solid metal fence. We did we may have lost our connection. Oh, I guess the connection is back. We also used fishing line around the plots on our fence poles, set at like 2 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot up. So we think we had kind of a double whammy going there of the deer didn't see the fishing line when they would hit it, but they also had the smell of the fragrance of the Whiff soap that kept the deer out. I was skeptical, but we had tried everything, and that actually worked. You can get Whiff. Look for it online. I think you got it at Amazon. But that's one thing to try. If you want more information on that, Rhonda, go ahead and send me an email at southerngardening@mstate.edu, and I'll send you the exact information for that. So we can do that. So Lynn, our friend Lynn, when is the first frost expected on the Gulf Coast? Good question. And I have to go back into the Wayback Machine here a second. It seems to me that the 90% for sure date of frost here on the coast is November 11th. So we've got a ways to go. I know it's kind of that early mid-November. So I hope that helps. And now Sharon's asking the question, what are the best ways to control mealy white insects on coleus and impatiens? These plants are so susceptible to the insects. Stay safe during item. Okay, we will with that, Sharon. But the white mealy bugs are a problem. I have seen different recommendations from using horticultural oils. I don't like to use those on some of our softer plant material like coleus. I've seen people say spinosad. Not quite sure about that. I think that was something kind of, grasping at straws kind of thing. A lot of times it's air movement, and we see those insects on those plants when their canopies really close in together. And there's no air movement, and it just becomes kind of that nice environment. But I will say, I have seen a lot of mealybug problems this year. I've had them even in my yard, in my hardy hibiscus, that we've been growing, and having to prune a lot of the damaged material back. And I know that's not a great solution, but sometimes just cutting it out and removing it has been some of the better things I have done this year. I hate to make that recommendation, but sometimes you just have to remove the material, and kind of start over again. So I hope that helps. So how long have we been going here? We've been going almost a half hour now. Yeah, if you've got any questions, and you want to email me, go ahead and southerngardening@mstate.edu. Now, probably should talk about the pruners. These are the ultimate innovations pruners from QVC. Our friend Roxanne DePalma has sent me some of these, and this is the giveaway for today. And I'm kind of thinking that I want to know, when we're starting to get into the fall season, what is, your favorite cool season crop that you're going to grow this year? You really don't have to tell me why, because your favorite may not be my favorite, but your favorite may give some folks some different ideas. One of the things that I'm going to be growing this year is, if you follow Southern Gardening, I've done some columns and I've done some speaking on the Long Beach red radish. Did you know that Long Beach, Mississippi was once called the radish capital of the world because of all the radishes that were grown in Long Beach? And in kind of like that 1890 to 1920, and just before Prohibition, these radishes were grown down south, shipped north in the wintertime, and used as bar snacks in beer halls and saloons. And once Prohibition hit, the market kind of dried up for those, and this Long Beach red radish disappeared. So I've been doing work on that, and kind of searching, what that radish could have been, and I've kind of hit on a radish called Cincinnati market radish. And it was a radish that the seeds were shipped south, the radishes were shipped north in the wintertime. So I think I'm onto something. And I've also found recently a radish I'd never heard of, but it's called a bartender's red radish. And it's a long red radish, just like the Long Beach red. And because it's called bartenders, it kind of tells me, no, maybe this is the one that everybody was growing. So anyways, I ordered some seeds, so I'm going to be growing bartender's red radish this fall. Also going to be growing kale, and we'll share the kale chip recipe in the future, but we're going to be doing that. And so, oh my gosh, look at everybody. You guys are ambitious for the fall. We've got snapdragons and collards and giant garnet mustard, and more collards, pansies, and Swiss chard. Savannah, now Karen, Savannah hybrid mustard, is it the variety called Savannah, or kind of grown in Savannah? Let me know about that. We have radishes. Yeah, and Meg wondered when to grow the Long Beach red radish. Yeah, I'd say go ahead, after Labor Day, go ahead and start sowing those. Those are about a 32-day crop, and just continue to sow those. Sweet peas, romaine, carrots, radish, leaf lettuces. I like it. Everybody keep telling, sharing what you're going to grow. Share with your friends and neighbors, about what we're doing here with Southern Gardening, and asking anything. Continue to, comment on this through the weekend. Probably beginning of the week, after we get past Ida and everything, we'll do the drawing. We'll do the little spinning wheel thing again, like we did last month. And Charles Morgan got that pack of Garden Joan tomatoes, seed from Proven Winners. So with that, I think we've got a half hour in. I think I'm gonna say adios here and kind of get busy with some of the other stuff that we've got going on here on the coast. And just want to say thanks everybody for joining us this morning. Share us with your friends on social media. Help us grow Southern Gardening Nation, and we shall see you next time. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.